Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, sixth chapter, the cosmic manifestation, verse number 28. Iti Sanskrit please. Iti samruta sambhara purusha varaham. Iti samruta sambharaha purusha vairaham. Tameva purusham yajnam tenaivayajamishwaram. Iti samruta sambharaha purusha vairaham. Tameva purusham yajnam tenaivayajamishwaram. Iti samruta sambhara purusha vairaham. Tameva purusham yajnam tenaivayajamishwaram. Iti thus. Sambhuta executed. Sambharaha equipped myself well. Purusha the personality of Godhead. Avavahai by the parts and parcels. Aham tam eva unto him. Purusham the personality of Godhead. Yajnam the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Tena eva by all those. Ayajam worshipped. Ishwaram the supreme controller. Translation. Thus I, Brahma, created the ingredients and paraphernalia for offering sacrifice out of the parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, and I performed the sacrifice to satisfy the Lord. Report. People in general are always anxious to have peace of mind or peace in the world, but they do not know how to achieve such a standard of peace in the world. Such peace in the world is obtainable by performances of sacrifice and by the practice of austerity, yajna and tapasa. In the Bhagavad Gita 5.29, the following prescription is recommended. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surudam sarva bhutanam jnatva mam shantimruchati. The karma yogis know that the Supreme Lord is the factual enjoyer and maintainer of all sacrifices and of the austere life. They also know that the Lord is the ultimate proprietor of all the planets and is the factual friend of all living entities. Such knowledge gradually converts the karma yogis into pure devotees of the Lord through the association of unalloyed devotees. and thus they are able to be liberated from the material bondage. Brahma, the original living being within this material world, taught us the way of sacrifice. The word sacrifice suggests dedication of one's own interests for the satisfaction of the second person. This is the way of all the activities. Every man is engaged in sacrificing his interest for others, either in the form of family, society, community, country, or the entire human society. But the perfection of such sacrifices is attained when they are performed for the sake of the Supreme Person, the Lord. Because the Lord is the proprietor of everything, because the Lord is the friend of all living creatures, and because He is the maintainer of the performer of sacrifice, as well as the supplier of the ingredients of the sacrifice. It is He only and no one else who should be satisfied by all sacrifices. The whole world is engaged in sacrificing energy for advancement of learning, social upliftment, economical development, and plans for total improvement of the human civilization, human condition. But no one is interested in sacrificing the for the sake of the Lord, as it is advised in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, there is no peace in the world. If men at all want peace in the world, they must practice sacrifice in the interest of the Supreme Proprietor and Friend of all, that is the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We can remove the screen share and welcome all of you who are present for this Bhagavatam class. This particular chapter is entitled as the Purusha Sukta confirmed in the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is called as Sarartha Darshini Tika. And rightly so, if you go through the whole chapter, the description of the Virata Purusha, the original personality which occupied the 14 planets of the universe, and how from each and every part of his body the whole creation was created, is what is explained in this chapter. And the same thing is chanted in Purusha Sukta, which means there is a description of the Virata Purusha. And it begins like this. Om Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshaha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Sarvato Sprishtva Tyadishtad Dashangulam. Om Purusha Eveda Sarvam Yadbhutam Yaccha Bhavyam Utamrutatva Seshanah Yadannena Tirohati, and like that it goes on. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains the first verse in a bit detail in his purports of this chapter. And a few of the points I have noted down. It's a very, 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 very elaborate, highly technical description. But in principle, we have to understand how it comes in principle. Now, what happened was when Lord Brahma was created on the whirl of the lotus, coming out from the navel of Lord Vishnu. At that moment of time, what existed was Karana Udakshayi Vishnu, the person, supreme personality of Godhead lying in the causal ocean, from whose pores of the body lots of divine water came out, forming an ocean on the surface of which this particular Supreme Lord is resting in Yoga Nidra. And from his pores of his body, variety of universes are coming out in seed form, which mature in the fully grown up Brahmanda, the universe. And in one particular Brahmanda, it's like an egg. This Karana Udakshayi Vishnu manifests into Garbha Udakshayi Vishnu. And this particular egg is filled with half water called Garbha Udaka. It's like amniotic fluid in the uterus of human beings. And he is also lying on the surface, but he is lying on Sheshashaya. That means the bed made of Ananta Shesha, the coils of Ananta Shesha. And at his feet, Lakshmi Devi is sitting. And from this personality's navel, the lotus stem sprouts to form the lotus, and on the fully blossomed, multi-petaled lotus, Lord Brahma is given birth directly from his father without mother. Ayonija is called as, without mother. So when Brahma is born, this is what the situation is around. And up till now, the situation is called as Sarga, or the primary creation of the material world in a particular Brahmand. Then what happens? Then Brahma is bewildered. Brahma sees everywhere, everything is dark, nothing to be seen, only the lotus flower and the stem of the lotus flower. So he goes all the way down to the root of the stem and tries to understand why he is there, what is the purpose of his creation, and he doesn't understand anything. It's like Om Agyana Timirandasya. He was born in the middle of darkness. Om Agyana Timirandasya. Timira means darkness, Andam is blind, one who is born blind in the darkness of ignorance. That was the position of the first citizen of the Brahmanda. The first citizen of the universe is Brahma. He's supposed to be the primeval, created living being. And what is his situation? He is fully in darkness. And at that moment of time, two things happened. One thing was he saw the supreme Virat Purusha, the how to say in English, I don't know. The personality was like a human being, but he had 1,000 heads, he had thousands of arms, and he covered all the 14 planets, right from Brahmaloka, that is the lotus, all the way down to the root of the stem, which contained these 14 planets. Seven were higher planets, one was middle planetary system, earthly planet, and other were six other planets, lower planets. This made it 14 planets, and all these 14 planets were actually one personality of Godhead. And then the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who actually created this lotus and Brahma, he spoke the four verses. I think 2.39.33 to 36, if I'm not wrong. This is called a Chatushloki Bhagavatam. These four shlokas were recited by this personality into the heart of Brahma with full love and affection and empowerment. And with that, Brahma was fully enlightened right from being born in darkness of full ignorance, 0 to 100% knowledge and 100% realization of the revealed knowledge, which gave him complete realization of the whole existence, the purpose of whole existence, purpose of his creation, his duties, the end of the creation, how to be done, how to create, the process, the elements, everything was revealed to him. So, Brahma is now talking to Narad Muni. This particular chapter, you'll see, it is a conversation between Lord Brahma, the first citizen of the universe, and Narad Muni, the um, creation of the mind of Brahma, Manasaputra. So this discussion is going on, and in that, Brahma is explaining Narad Muni how everything came into existence, which means the knowledge given by Vishnu to Brahma is actually delivered in disciplic succession by Brahma to first to Narad Muni, and then Narad Muni, after hearing it attentively from Lord Brahma, will be explaining that to Vyasa Muni, and thus Vyasa Muni will further elaborate it to his following followers. He will also write it down. He wrote it down, which was made available as scriptures also in nice elaboration and description for everybody to understand, from 4 verses to thousands of verses in the form of Vedas. And then Lord Vyasadeva took pains to further elaborate, expand on it, so that everybody can understand in a nice subjective manner. So, few things I will explain to you. I don't want to uh, confuse the audience because the description is quite technical and quite intricate and not very easy to understand and not uh, full of rasa also. It means the darshan that Brahma got right from his abode to the root of the lotus was not uh, in the sense very palatable and tasty and relishable. It had all the majesty. The form that Brahma saw had all the opulence, all the power, all the grandeur, all the greatness, all the majesty was there, but not necessarily lovable, not necessarily relatable to relate,
अरे
to have wonderful relationships. So the point is that the Virat Rupa, which was also shown by Krishna to Arjuna in 11th chapter, is also called as Vishwarup Darshana. That Rupa was such that it really told Arjun that Krishna was Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, Krishna was actually his lovable friend and brother also, but he could not relate to that form as lovable brother and relative. So he requested Krishna to cancel that form, take it back, and come back in two-armed form in front of him, so he can relate to him, can love him, he can have interaction and rasa, the mellow of relationship with him. The same thing was true about the form which Brahma saw. So now Brahma is explaining what came from what. And there is a beautiful formula how things came about. From the mouth of the Lord arose the speech, the ability to speak, the organ of speech, that is kantha, that is the voice box, and the demigod, which will be aiding that activity of speech, that is Agni, the fire god. Then from the tongue area of that great personality, the food of demigods came out. That's called Havishya or Havya. And six kinds of tastes that we know: sweet, bitter, pungent. These are six different tastes. These six different tastes came out, and one who promotes the activity of taste is Lord Varuna Dev. He also came out. So one demigod, the organ, what the organ will taste, what kind of things, and what it will taste. That is Havishya. What it will, how it will taste through six different tastes. That is sour, sweet, bitter, pungent, like that. Then from Lord's nose, that is the smelling organ, what came out is life airs. There are five kinds of life airs: prana, apana, udana, apan. These kind of five life airs are called as. These five life airs are moving in the body. Some are gross, some are subtle. Right in the brain also there is life air. There is life air in the joints, life air in the heart, life air in the intestines, life air in the muscles. Everywhere the life air is there. Then Vayu Dev, the presiding deity of Vayu, that is air, is produced from the Lord's nose. Ashwini Kumars, they are produced, they are the two demigods of medicine, and because of them, fragrant herbs also came out. So life air, nose, and the demigod Vayu, and the fragrant herbs, and the fragrance is also created. So what to smell, how to smell, who will control, who will provide, everything is created from nose. From the Lord's eyes arose. What do we see? We see form. So from the object of seeing, the form came up. Everything, every item that is created in this material world has a form, maybe small or big, but there is a shape and form. What else came? The Lord of the form, that is fire, and another Lord is Sun, Surya Deva. Surya Deva is the Lord of the form of the object. From the ears, the hearing aid, what came is the Devatas, the ether, the sound which came from ether. Interestingly, from the body hair of the Lord, all the trees came up, all the clouds also came up. From the nails, minerals and metals came. Interestingly, from the steps of the Lord, three different lokas came up. Out of
Hi, Bhavan.
out of seven heavenly planets, three of them came up: Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, and Swargaloka. The first three of seven came out of steps of the Lord. Also, auspiciousness came from the feet of the Lord, and the items which can give us fulfillment and protection, fulfillment of all desires and protection from dangers, came from the feet of the Lord. Isn't that very significant? Where are we supposed to surrender our lives? At the feet of the Lord. Where are we supposed to meditate? At the feet of the Lord. And what comes out of that? Fulfillment of all the desires and protection from dangers. Extremely important to understand. Everything is connected. It is not that, oh, the hospital has got 46 department and the carpenter department has got nothing to do with the ICU, and the surgical department has got nothing to do with the water supply department or human resource department. They look absolutely disconnected, but they all are connected on the platform of serving the patient. Everybody is connected to serve the patient. Similarly, the Lord's body, one is smelling organ of the body, one is seeing organ of the body, one is testing organ of the body, one is hearing organ of the body. All of them are creating different things which are very, very connected. Finally, into the machine called human being. And the human beings also have basically five elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. But all these, they come together to form a ear, or a nose, or a tongue, or touch the skin. But they are basically made of the five elements only. But they function differently. When different personality of demigod comes to control that formation, it gives you touch. When different demigod comes in action, that same formation of five elements gives you taste. And another demigod comes to touch that formation of five elements, you can start hearing. But finally, it is all flesh, blood, cells, and all the other. Basically, it is cell actually, collection of all cells, covered with some skin, also made of cells. But they function differently because of the empowerment of the Lord to a particular demigod to use that organ in a particular way. And all that is from the Lord's body manifests in our body in a similar fashion. Next, from the belly arose oceans. The juicy nature of the food or fruit or herbs or vegetable came from the belly of the Lord. The juicy nature. That's why the belly secretes digestive juices of variety of kinds. Some are acidic, some are alkaline, some are totally different, tasteless or whatever. Now, next interesting part is from the heart of the Lord arose the mind of a man. So, our mind has an origin in the heart of the Lord. That means originally our mind is very pure, like the heart of the Lord, all auspicious. But later on, when the mind comes in contact with the material energy of the Lord, the mind gets contaminated by the three modes of material nature: sattva guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna. And with the influence of the three material modes of nature, the mind starts thinking in different directions at different times of the day. The Lord's heart is the shelter of intelligence and mind. And also, Lord Brahma says, Lord's heart is my shelter. O Narada is your shelter, is also shelter for Lord Shiva and the Kumaras. So Brahma, Shiva, Narada, and Kumaras, they take shelter in the heart of the Lord. The heart of the Lord is their shelter. From their mind comes. So if mind reconnects with the Lord, all auspiciousness will be there in the life of human being. So how the process of creation is also connected with the process of salvation of the entangled living entity. This you will understand. If you think and meditate deeply on the process and the science of creation, then you will know the same process is there to liberate the soul from the entanglement of the 24 element made body, material body, made of 24 elements from the body of the Lord. The soul can get freed in the same way by going back. Just by returning back to the root, immediately salvation starts appearing. Now, in the 13th to the 16th chapter, shloka 2.6, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's some summary of all the slokas, which I couldn't explain to you in detail, but I touched upon the essence. What it says, listen to it very carefully. It's enumerating many names. Brahma is saying, myself, Lord Shiva, Narada, Kumaras, Devata, Asura, human beings, snakes, birds, animals, reptiles, Gandharvas, Apsaras, Yakshas, demons, Bhutas, that is ghosts, Puragas, cows, Pitrus, Siddhas, Vidyadharas, that is demigods, Charanas, trees, plants, planets, constellation of stars, comets, lightning, clouds, so on and so forth. We can go on elaborating every single thing existing in the material world. Lord Brahma says, all these things, minute or huge, are but the Lord only. They are simply the Lord's only. They are manifestations of Lord, creations of the Lord, and in Lord only. They are in the Lord, they are of the Lord, they are Lord only. Also, he says, Brahma, past, present, and future, Bhuta, Vartaman, and Bhavishya, are all covered by the Lord. All these things, they either exist in the past, present, or future. And all these three tenses of time is covered by the Lord only. And then he says, this is the creation, that is the creation. So we're talking about the things within the creation. Then the Lord expands and extends himself beyond the creation, beyond the universe. How? Atya tishtat dashangulam. Through extending his 10 fingers, he comes out of the creation and goes beyond the creation. So, the personality who has 1000 heads, Om Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha, Sahasraksha, he has also 1000 eyes, Sahasrapad, 1000 arms. Sabhumim Sarvato Spristva, the entire creation is created by him, touched by him, empowered by him, and extended by him. How? Atya Tishtad Dashangulam. Ati Atishtata Dashangulam. That means through his 10 fingers, he is expanding within the universe and going beyond the universe. And in 23rd verse, Brahma says, when I appeared, I could not see anything but the limbs of the Lord. By using the limbs of the Lord, this is where our shloka comes today. By using the limbs of the Lord, I assembled following ingredients for sacrifice: animals for sacrifice, sacrificial posts, the kusha grass, the place for yajna, the time, auspicious time for yajna, the utensils for yajna, the plants like rice, ghee, honey, all the herbs that are required, the black sesame seeds, and the rice, and the ghee, and the honey, and so many objects. Then metals like gold to use in the sacrifice, the earth which is required to sit upon, the water that is required to chant mantras and get purified, and the verses from Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. Brahma said, I created all these things. I assembled all these things, not created, from the Lord, from his limbs. And then finally we come to today's verse, which is 28th verse, which 27th verse says, thus I had to arrange all the necessary ingredients and paraphernalia of sacrifice from the personal bodily parts of the Lord. By invocation of the demigods' names, the ultimate goal, Vishnu, was gradually attained, and the compensation and the ultimate offering were complete. Thus, I created the ingredients and paraphernalia for offering the sacrifice out of the parts of the body of the Lord only. And what happened? I performed the sacrifice. Finally, that satisfied the Lord. Amazing. So, what was Brahma's realization? That the only process to perfect our life, or the perfection of Lord's creation, that is us, how to perfect us or our existence, is to sacrifice. Not through enjoyment, but by sacrifice. When we sacrifice, we enjoy, we get fulfilled, and we become perfect. It was his first realization. Then he started looking for performing the sacrifice. Then he saw the limbs of the Lord. Then he assembled all the ingredients which were produced by different limbs of the Lord, and variety of things were created, which we elaborated just now. And all the things were assembled, arranged, organized. Then the verses were chanted, water was purified, gold was utilized, earth was utilized, sesame seeds and rice and ghee, honey were utilized. And thus the sacrifice was performed. How? By chanting the names of the Lord, by invoking the names of many demigods, and thus the sacrifice was completed, and then the Supreme Personality of Godhead was satisfied. When he was satisfied, Brahma also felt satisfaction and perfection and fulfillment of his existence, and perfection and fulfillment of the creation that was around him, the limited creation of a particular universe, which was also huge, but he felt the perfection and fulfillment of his creation also. And now Prabhupada gives us very beautiful purport. What he says, everybody who is created in the material world, there are two kinds of creation. One are living beings and one are things. And the living beings want to utilize things to derive happiness. And he goes on trying to derive more and more happiness by deriving, using, utilizing more and more objects for his senses. But although he tries to partake of things more and more and more, still he feels unfulfillment and dissatisfaction. Only when he utilizes all that creational things, the things in the creation, to satisfy the Supreme Lord in sacrifice, he feels the fulfillment and satisfaction and perfection. That is the essence of all our life. Till the time we want to utilize the things of the world for our own selfish individual happiness, no happiness will come, no satisfaction will come, which we are looking for through all these things. Moment we change our direction and utilize all those things to please the Lord in sacrifice, immediately fulfillment and satisfaction arrives in the heart. So it's like you are standing in front of ocean. You can stand in front of ocean two ways: by looking at the ocean or showing back to the ocean. In both conditions, you are standing at the bank of the ocean. But in one situation, you only see concrete jungle, houses, and land. And in one angle, you see only water, water, and water, the vastness, the majesty, the depth, and the expanse. And two different feelings you get. Generally, we also go to the ocean many times. And when we sit in front of the ocean, facing the ocean, we feel very fresh, we feel peaceful, we feel complete and perfect. And we turn to the land, we see all the noise, all the passion, all the activities, and pollution, and all human beings, and happiness and sorrow, and everything. They, so many things are there. But the moment we face the ocean, immediately you feel peaceful, you feel great, and you feel you are a part of the greatness also. So when we turn to the Lord and do a sacrifice, what is the meaning of sacrifice? Like when I chant Hare Krishna, what I am sacrificing? I am sacrificing my time, which I can utilize for so many things, to call the Lord. So that is my sacrifice of desire to enjoy independently and dovetailing my desire to call the Lord for attracting his attention to receive his mercy. Like that, we can analyze everything. What do I do when I read scriptures? I can read worldly magazines of love stories or thefts or politics, or I give up that and I read the message of the Lord given in the scriptures. When I read the stories of the world, so I want to use the reading propensity to read the worldly stories, I only get frustration. And the same reading propensity or ability or capacity I use to read the message or story of the Lord, immediately I feel happy immediately. When I dance in kirtan, what I'm sacrificing? I'm sacrificing my desire to dance with beautiful ladies in a very intoxicated atmosphere for sense gratification. And I dance and use my hands and feet in tune with the melody of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Immediately, I first feel all my miseries are flying off my existence and I feel blissful at the same moment. I use walking and I walk my office, I walking to earn money. But same thing when I walk to temple or church or a godly place, I will visit the Lord. I will feel the presence of the Lord. I will feel the vibration. I will feel the existence of the Lord around me, engulfing me, covering me, showering His blessing upon me. And I can go on describing variety of things, how we dovetail those things. And in each item, there is sacrifice involved. And the primary sacrifice is of the desire to enjoy independently. What we are proving to the Lord by performing devotional service is I am giving up my desire to enjoy separate from you. I want to do activities to please you. If that is what our platform is, if that is what our foundation is, happiness, satisfaction, and fulfillment is guaranteed. So Srila Prabhupada says that everybody in the world is, trying to enjoy, and they are doing also sacrifices. What they are sacrificing for? Their body. They are sacrificing for the family, society, the community, the country, or the entire human race. But it is independent of the Lord. Trying to please all this variety of things, independent of the Lord. When you try to do sacrifices to please yourself, the family, society, community, country, and the entire human race, because we are disconnecting the Lord from all this endeavor of sacrifice, the sacrifice becomes futile, becomes useless. As soon as the sacrifices are dovetailed or directed towards Supreme Lord, immediately perfection is achieved. Because the Lord is the friend of all living entities. The whole world is engaged in sacrificing energy for so-called advancement of learning, researching, social upliftment, improving the facilities to live, economic development, the heart of all the activities, economic development, increased finances, and plans for overall improvement of human life. But all these efforts will never give us complete happiness unless they are directed towards the Lord, or at least they are directed in connection with the Lord. What is missing is activities are disconnected from the Lord. When all the activities are connected meaningfully with the Lord, immediately all the so called sacrifices that we do become very meaningful, become very fulfilling, and not at the end, right from beginning, they become very fulfilling and happiness giving. That is the beauty. Susukham kartum avyayam. The activities are, because they are connected with the Lord, right from beginning they give happiness. And when they are culminated, the ultimate perfectional experience is available. So this is what uh, I want to humbly, I wanted to humbly express to you as my little understanding of this verse. Finally, we should understand that whatever we have or whatever we don't have, we all are looking for inner fulfillment. And inner fulfillment will come only when we offer ourselves in sacrifice at the feet of the Lord. Make our life His, make our life belonging to Him, make our life offered fully to Him. At that time, there is no need to struggle, there is no need to feel imperfect or unfulfilled, or they don't need to run around in 51 places to look for the happiness. The happiness is right within, and the within, that is Antahkarana, the heart of the Lord, is from where our mind is coming. When the mind unites with the heart of the Lord in service, immediately fulfillment is there. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So if there are any questions, you can ask.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, yeah. Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful class. It's very interesting to know that different parts of the body of the Lord produced different things, and his lotus feet produced spaciousness.
And protection.
And since we all want auspiciousness, I think we all need to take shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord.
Even if we don't
Which makes a lot
understand,
of sense.
even if you don't understand all the intricacies of the ways of creation, if you understand this one point,
Yes,
the whole process of creation
yes,
is completely
yes,
perfect.
yes. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
As a matter of inquisitiveness, I just wanted to know how you beautifully described the Lord in an ocean, the Karna Ocean, and then the Garbo Ocean, like the amniotic fluid that the fetus or the baby find itself in the mother's womb.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that the Lord is never alone. So I'm wondering, when the Lord is in the causal ocean and when the Lord is in the Garbo Ocean, do we also have living entities there serving the Lord in those
Do we have what?
oceans?
Do we?
Do we do we have devotees? Do we have devotees serving the Lord in those two
Lakshmi Devi is
places?
present.
In the
In,
Garbo Ocean.
in Garbhodaka ocean, Lakshmi Devi is present. And all the living
Oh,
entities,
just Lakshmi.
yeah, all the living entities are present in the body of Karna Vishnu in the seed form.
Mm.
Everybody actually merges in the body of Karna Vishnu, Udakashayi Vishnu in the Yoga Nidra form, Yoga Nidra fashion. And when he breathes out, the seed form of universes come out. Along with that, the living entities also come out, and then they manifest by the engineering of Brahma with the 24 elements. That means they become visible. First, they are invisible in the Atma form. Then they are given the body, which is engineered by the Lord Brahma with the 24 elements taken from Krishna. And then slowly, slowly, all the living entities start manifesting as Brahma starts creating. So everybody is there in the subtle form, and first the physical form is created, And then first living entity, Brahma, is created, and Brahma now starts creating the living beings. All 84 lakhs of species, 8.4 million species are created by Brahma, and then everything starts moving, interacting with the power of time, with the interactions of three modes of material nature and the time, like khala, this starts becoming activated. And then the life in the universe begins.
mm,
The living entities and the interactions and mother, father, children, grandchildren, and family, society, nations, different types of entities, demigods and demons and animals and birds and reptiles, they all become existent. And again, time influences all in such a way that everything ends at one point of time. Very bold.
mm.
Okay, so if there is no question, we can end here.
Uh, Chatusloki from the Bhagavad Gita. We have
Bhagavatam.
Chatusloki from the
It was
Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam.
Don't we have one in the Gita also? I think
No.
I've heard from a couple of devotees. No Gita.
It was
Okay.
Shloki Bhagavatam.
Okay. It's just the Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. 2933,
So,
36.
always make
Right.
mistake. It is from 36 to 39 words.
Yeah.
But
Yes, it's
2.36, 39. I may again cross check and come back to you, but
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So,
Hare Krishna.
anyone else with any question, commentary?
Hari Bol. Okay, so
Harinaam Kirtan Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
who is speaking?
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes. Dandavat. Please speak.
Very beautiful class. Thank you so much for a beautiful explanation. I was wondering, you were explaining about the real knowledge and the realized knowledge. So when Lord gave Brahma the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, he could realize that entire knowledge. So we also hear, Bhagavatam, so many speakers, so much katha we hear. And that knowledge, we absorb that knowledge theoretically, whatever we call it. But when does that knowledge become a realized knowledge?
In our case,
Yes, Prabhuji, in our case.
when we obediently follow the instructions of spiritual master, that revealed knowledge becomes realization. So obedience is the key. When you follow the instructions of the spiritual master sincerely, without ulterior motivation, that time the knowledge what you have heard becomes realization. And it happens gradually. It doesn't happen the way it happened in case of Brahma. Because Brahma had a very special role to play in the whole creation. So he was given that privilege of everything to be realized in one instant. Because he's a special soul who's already performed his activities of service, of devotion in the past. So that soul has been given the birth as Brahma. He achieves the body of Brahma on the lotus. So he deserves that instant realization of 100%
Also,
knowledge. Yeah. But in our case, we have to prove our actions by obediently following the instruction of spiritual master. Okay.
yes, parents. Also, just same thing. So the Narad Muni, he told he is a Manas Putra. So we also know from the first canto, he became Narad Muni by eating the remnants from the sages. So that is different kalpa, different yugas, different.
Now, in the first Satya Yuga only all this thing happened.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Narad Muni also is a great soul, but still, when he comes to the material world, he performs some pastimes to teach us some lessons. So he happens to be the Gandharva, then he happens to be performing the sinful activity. Then he becomes the son of a Dasi, that is, fourth class personality. And then he eats the remnants of the Bhakti Vedantas. Then he sees the Lord. And then he takes birth as Narad Muni, the pure devotee of the Lord. So it's not like Narad Muni is born from the Shudra and then he's Narad Muni only. But the whole pastime is enacted so that we understand. We understand. How do we perfect our life? How should we perfect our life in the given situation of conditioned nature? Narad Muni, in transcendental way, is the son of Brahma from his mind. But then everything has got its two parts. One is transcendental aspect of a thing, and one is the material way of doing things. The transcendental aspect is he is the creation of the mind of Brahma as Narad Muni. And the material understanding is, oh, he came like this, like this, like this, and he was son of a Shudrani, and then all those things. Like Sri Krishna's transcendental part is he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, always. But when he comes to the material world, he accepts one father and one mother. He becomes a baby, he crawls, he learns to walk and talk. But does he need to do that? That is his activity when he comes here. But he knows all the Shastras. He runs the whole universe, controls everything, even though he's a baby. He's doing everything. It's like that. There's a transcendental aspect and there's a local aspect. The practical aspect that we see when he comes here. He also follows the rule of the practical world. Okay? Any other question?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Harinam Kirtan Prabhu, for your yes.
Grantaraj,
Anyone else with any more questions? All right, so we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace Vishwarup Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarabhyascha
Thank you very much. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.